So you have a Kenmore dryer that won't heat, and I have 11 parts you must check that are guaranteed to get your Kenmore dryer up and running again. Also guys, make sure to watch the entire video because I'm gonna show you a way to save hundreds of dollars on this repair. Let's dive in. All right guys, so we're gonna need a multimeter, a putty knife, and a drill or a Phillips head screwdriver to do this repair. And the first thing we're gonna do is actually just make sure that the breaker is turned on. Now we're gonna wanna check the voltage of the outlet, and we can do that by turning our multimeter on voltage, and we're gonna take one of our probes in one side of the outlet and the other probe on the other side, and we should be reading 240 volts here. The dryer will spin without 240 volts, but it will not get hot. But now we need to remove these two caps here, and sometimes on the model it will require a putty knife to do this, but this model we're actually just going to take our fingers and pry these two tabs towards us, and we can do that on both sides, and that's going to allow us to access the screws we need to in a second. But first we need to turn the timer dial into a timed dry, which is going to come in handy later. And once that's done, you can go ahead and remove these two screws on each side of the control panel. This is going to be done with a Phillips head screwdriver or a drill. Once you've removed the Phillips screws, you're going to grab the control board with your hands and you're gently going to pull it towards you, setting the face down. Again, make sure that timer is in a time dry cycle. With the control panel facing down, we want to remove these 6 parameter screws with a quarter nut driver, and that's going to give us access to the timer, which is the very first thing we're going to look at on this repair. If the timer contacts are not closing properly, then we will never get voltage down to the heater from the outlet. Now, once you remove those screws, just gently pull on this metal plate, and that's going to give us access to the timer. Now, don't let all these wires scare you. We are only concerned with the black and the red wire that control the heating circuit. So once you've identified those, we're going to take needle nose pliers and we're going to take the wires off the timer contacts. Once you remove the wires from the timer, we're going to take our multimeter and put it on a continuity setting, and we're just going to confirm that these timer contacts are actually closed. So take one of your probes and put them where the red wire was, and the other probe, put it where the black wire was, and you should be reading a very small number between 1 and 3 ohms here. If you are getting OL or an open, then the timer needs to be replaced. Now we want to go to the back of the dryer and remove this 1/4 inch nut, and this is going to give us access to the wiring from the outlet to the dryer. We want to make sure on this model that these Molex connectors are all connected properly and none of them are open. It's worth noting on a lot of these models that the wiring is actually hardwired to the back of the dryer, but the process is still the same. Make sure that the wiring is actually connected to the dryer. Let's go ahead and remove these 6 parameter screws on the outside of the dryer, and then we have 2 more screws up by the plug itself. Like most of the screws in this dryer, this is going to be done with a 1/4 inch socket, and again, I find this helps if you have a drill, but if you only have a screwdriver, that's fine too. With the back panel removed, we're going to have access to everything we need to look at in this dryer. But a quick note that I want to make here is take a look at all this lint being built up in this dryer. Now, why this matters is because if it builds up in your ventilation, it will never dry your clothing properly, and it could even trip this thermal fuse right here that controls the motor circuit. We're going to check the thermal fuse by removing one of the wires, and then we're going to keep our multimeter on that continuity setting and connect one of our probes to each side. Again, you should be reading a very small number here between 1 and 3. Don't mind my multimeter. It's doing its own thing today. This is a temperature sensitive fuse and is by far the most common issue when your dryer is not spinning. However, it's always good to check if you're already in the back of the dryer. Now we're going to check the thermal cutoff, and we can do that by removing the 2 wires attached to it. Now this fuse opens up at 350 degrees Fahrenheit as a safety mechanism and is usually caused by bad ventilation. Put one of your probes on both sides, and again, you should be getting a small number around 1 to 3 ohms here. If this is bad, you should also consider replacing your operating thermostat at the same time, which I'll show you in a second. But first, we're going to check the heater itself, and we're going to do that by checking these 2 bottom terminals here on the bottom right hand side of your dryer. Now here you should be reading about 10 to 12 ohms, and that would indicate a good heater. If you read OL or a large number, it needs to be replaced. But now let's go ahead and remove this top wire off the heater thermostat, and we're going to check the thermostat itself by going to the back side and then to the top of the thermostat. You should read a small number around 1 to 3 ohms here. Now this next part's very important because while you're down here, you want to also check for a grounded heater, and to do that, we're going to take one of our probes and we're going to put the other probe on the chassis. So one probe on the heater terminal and the other on the chassis, and do this with all 3 terminals on the left side of the heater while keeping one probe on the chassis of the heater itself. If you hear any beeping at this point, you need to replace the heater. Now we're going to check the operating thermostat. We are only concerned with the 2 red wires, so we can remove one of those wires, and then on the same setting with our multimeter, we are going to touch one side to the red wire and the other black probe to the top top of the thermostat, and we should be reading 1 to 3 ohms here. If the thermal cutoff you tested earlier was bad, you'd want to consider also replacing this thermostat at the same time. Now, there's still a few more things to check on this dryer, but chances are you've already diagnosed what's wrong with your dryer. And now you're about to go online and pay over $50 for the heater alone. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is not what you're gonna do. I have left a link to this Amazon kit in the description below that is guaranteed to fix your dryer. It comes with the heater as well as almost every other part we've talked about in this video. And the best part is it is only $36.99 and is guaranteed 2-day shipping opposed to $50 for the heater alone. Even if you only need one part to fix your dryer, why not pay less and get more? The truth is we never know if we're gonna have an issue with our dryer again in the future, and this kit is probably gonna solve 99% of the issues you have today or are guaranteed to have in the future. So if you wanna check that part out, the link is in the description below. Now, if all the above parts in this video checked out okay, then what we wanna check is the centrifugal switch on the motor. So without further ado, let's show you how to check out the motor on your Kenmore dryer. Okay, so to check the centrifugal switch, let's first put this plate on the control housing of the dryer, and we can do that by putting in those 6/4-inch nuts that we removed earlier. Once this is done, we wanna take the tabs on the control housing and line them up with the holes on the chassis of the dryer. Now, once you put these tabs inside, you want to gently push the control housing towards the back of the dryer. With the control panel attached, you want to take those 2 Phillips screws from earlier and screw the control panel back down. Now take the 2 end caps you removed earlier and gently push them back into place until you hear them click. With this out of the way, now what we want to do is remove the lint trap from the top of the dryer, and then we are going to remove these 2 Phillips screws, and we want to make sure that they do not fall down the ventilation towards the fan of the dryer. They can be very difficult to get out. Now you're going to grab your putty knife and go to the front of the dryer where we are going to pop this top panel up, and we do that by going to the edge of each side of the dryer and prying up these 2 black tabs. Once you've done this, you will be able to easily fold the top panel of the dryer back towards a wall. It should be resting against something if possible. Now take a flathead screwdriver and gently pry open the door switch wire housing. With that out of the way, we're going to take a 5/16 socket and remove these 2 sockets at the front of the dryer. And if you drop these, don't worry, you will be able to get them when you take the plate of the dryer off. Once you have that out of the way, you can lift up on the dryer door while also pulling away from the drum of the dryer. To get the pulley off, push the pulley all the way to the right side and then slip the belt off, then slide the belt to the back of the drum and lift the drum out of the dryer. This is going to give us access to the motor, which in this case you can see is covered by lint, so we want to take a second and try to remove some of this if at all possible. Now inside this motor there is something called a centrifugal switch, which closes when the drum reaches 80% of its spin speed. If this switch does not close, the heater will miss 120 volts and therefore never get hot. Now on this Molex connector you have a red wire on one side of the switch and a red and white wire on the bottom down here on the other side of the switch. Do not concern yourself with any other wires except those 2, so we want to take a flat head and gently pry this Molex connector off the motor. As you can see here, there's a red wire on the top and a red wire on the bottom of this Molex connector that connect to the motor itself. So we want to take one of our leads and put it on the very top pin of the motor and then put the other lead on the very bottom pin of the motor. With my multimeter on the continuity setting, I connected my red lead to the bottom pin and my black lead to the top pin. And as you can see, it says OL right now, which is what we want to see because the switch is currently open. Now I'm going to mechanically push the switch towards the motor coils. It's going to close, and you can see that there's actually a fluctuating number on my multimeter right now, and that indicates that this motor circuit and the centrifugal switch is actually good. This issue is rare, but it is often not talked about in many repair videos, and it does happen. The belt has 2 sides, a flat side and a ribbed side. Now we want to make sure that this ribbed side here is sitting in facing the drum of the dryer. Set the drum on the roller wheels and then attach the belt and pulley back together. To put the door back on, we want to make sure these holes on the door line up with these tabs on the bottom of the dryer. I like to lift the door on and put one side on first and push it down and then work on the other side. Now once this is done, you can push the door against the chassis of the dryer and reconnect the door switch wire housing. With the housing back together, you can go ahead and put those 2 5/16 bolts back in that you removed earlier. Now take the top of the dryer and fold it back close, making sure to push on the front of the dryer until you hear both sides click. To put the 2 Phillips screws back in, I like to take my thumb and push the ventilation forward and then use my hand to get the screw started. This helps make sure that it does not fall down the ventilation, and then I take my drill or screwdriver and screw them back in, and then put the lint trap back in the top of the dryer. Now go to the back of the dryer and line up the hole on the back panel with the ventilation, and I like to again use my hand to get one of the screws started here, and the rest I do with my drill or my 1/4-inch screwdriver. With that out of the way, we can take the plug cover, and we want the thick side to go in towards the Molex connectors, and we can angle that little tab in there, and then again use your hand to get the screw in and tighten it with a screwdriver. All right guys, you just learned all the reasons of why a Kenmore dryer won't heat. Now the cool thing is, all the troubleshooting in this video also applies to 99% of other dryers that are out there. So in a weird way, you're kind of halfway to being an appliance technician. But jokes aside, if this video helped you, feel free to leave us a comment. Let us know what we could do better. Let us know if the video helped you. And most of all, if you enjoy our channel, then consider subscribing. Here at the Appliance Dudes, we are extremely